So just real quick before I start this, just want to let you know that this is about to get real. I'm about to talk about something I haven't talked about on a public level. I've talked about it to some people personally, but not on a public level. So just be ready. I've warned you, it's about to get real. Man, so something I haven't really talked about is the day my dad died. That was such a bad day. I mean, just never thought that would happen. And I think all of us never think that our dads are gonna die. They're just so strong. And I just remember it. Don't remember the exact time in the morning because I was sleeping, and my mom was really worried, and she was at the time at the house alone with my dad, and it wasn't looking good, and she had called the ambulance and stuff and told us that we needed to come home. I was just thinking my mom really overreacts about everything. And so I thought, she's probably just being her normal self, overreacting. My dad's probably okay. Things are gonna be good. And that was probably about between 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning, my time, and they're an hour behind me, being in Central Time Zone, me being in Eastern. And then it was about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I called her and said, "Hey mom, how are things going? Just checking in." And she's like, "You need to come home." And I'm like, "Really?" And she's like, "Yes, I don't think your dad's gonna make it." And so I said, "Okay, well, I gotta let you go. I've got to book a flight." And I booked a flight. The earliest there was 6:30, so I wasn't gonna make it to that because I was still in bed. And so the next one after that was, I think, about 9 o'clock or something. And I was getting ready, packed everything I could, plan on being there just for the whole week, because this is the week after Thanksgiving. I had just taken a week off. I ended up staying in Greenville instead of going back to Houston to spend time with family. I'd just been working so much. I just needed some downtime. And going home sometimes isn't really much downtime. You feel like you're just on the go. You're trying to see everybody and everything. And so I had stayed in Greenville. Well, as I was getting ready to leave the house, my sister calls, and she gets my brother on the phone as well. So we had a 3-way conversation, and she let us know the news that he was gone. And man, that ripped my heart out. I mean, I just remember, no way my dad's gone. He's just the strongest guy ever, too stubborn to die. One of those old country boys from Alabama, and yet he was gone. And then all I could do was just get on the flight and wait till I got home. And I had to fly out of Greenville up to Chicago for whatever reason. That's how the flight went, and then down to Houston. And when I got into Chicago, I'm just thinking this whole time, man, today is not a great day. Right after being, thankful for Thanksgiving, and here my dad is gone from me, just taken just like that. And then I couldn't stop thinking about the fact that nobody around me knew. I'm in the airport, so I can't really text people to, talk. And of course, me talking about it, even now, starting to tear up. But I mean, that day, all I want to do is cry, and and just think about what people would think around me, not knowing what's going on. Like, what is this grown man doing, just crying? And then the worst part was, they were getting ready to take my dad away, and here I am sitting in the seat between two people, and my sister, had called me and said, "Hey, do you want to FaceTime? They're getting ready to take away Dad." And this is the last time I was gonna see him while he was kind of him, before that he was embalmed or anything like that. And so here I am on the airline with the phone to my face like this. I mean, because how weird is that for other people to see you looking at somebody? I guess maybe they would have thought he was asleep or something, but sitting there FaceTiming, seeing my dad dead. And so, of course, Thanksgiving, November. Last time I'd seen him was in May of that year. And, I really would wished I went home, but, he knew I needed the downtime. I'd been working so hard. And, he's so proud of me. Of course, I was proud of him. I loved him to death. He loved me. But just so hard not being there. I was thankful that work allowed me to go home for the week, be able to help take care of my mom and siblings and everything, and be able to be there to mourn with one another. But, just such a hard time. There's so many people that wrapped around us and really loved on us, but I just couldn't help but think about the whole time when I was on that flight about how nobody knows what's going on in my day. The worst day of my life. And here I am, I'm supposed to act normal. And I wanted to be anything but normal. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to have to act normal. I just wanted to cry my eyes out. And I couldn't. Getting the sniffles, and how I was getting the sniffles then, but I just felt like I couldn't do that. It probably would have been out of place, but if people would have known, of course, they wouldn't have blamed anything. But like I said, I couldn't help but think the whole time about how nobody knows how bad of a day I'm having. And that's the same way with other people in everyday life. You never know what kind of day they're having. And so you have to keep in mind that somebody may be having a bad day, and you shouldn't put them down just because you don't know what's going on in their life. You never know how that could put them over the edge. We think about suicide and how suicide, people having suicidal thoughts, and you being negative to them could really push them over the edge, literally. I'm not trying to be funny or put a pun in there, but, literally could push them past that breaking point and them to decide to go through with that suicide. I really wanted to bring this message out to say, you guys need to be careful in what you say. Be very, very careful with what you say, because you never know what kind of day people are having. You just never know. It's so hard to get through something like that. Thankful for all the people that were there to help us out as we mourned for many months. Here it is. It's been over a year now, because that was November 2017. And it's been a long year. It was, we had now 2 Christmases without him. We had our first Thanksgiving without him. First full year without him. We left him back in 2017. And it just feels like a whole new life. We no longer have him around anymore. And it's just, it's heartbreaking. But along with this heartbreak, it really pushed me to do what I'm doing. I don't know, without having this broken heart, without him, losing him in my life, if I would be going after the things I'm going after today. I think I would have, but not as quickly. As I have realized that life is fleeting. Life is too short. He was only 66 years old when he passed away. 66 years old. That's not very old to pass away. I know people that are a lot younger that pass away and stuff, but 66 years old. I thought never would be my dad. And I always, now especially, worry about providing for my loved ones, being family, being future wife and kids, stuff like that, and be able to provide for them. And that's why I'm pushing forward to do this. I try to do it in memory of my dad. He was a great man. He worked really hard. He gave me all the tools that I have today, all the necessary tools. He was never tech savvy like me, but he gave me the integrity and the drive and the work ethic to become the man I am today and the man I will become. Some of you may not have, I guess you could say, opportunity to have something that strong happen in your life to persuade you to become better, to do more, to pursue something because of a higher calling than of yourself. And I hope you don't have to deal with that for a long time. Me being 26 at the time and had to deal with that, and then becoming the man of the family, the head man of the family, me being the eldest son, was not an easy task. I don't regret it. I grieved enough, I feel like, over him. But when I was there, I could have grieved, but I felt like I couldn't. For being the eldest son, I felt like that's what my dad would want me to do, to make sure I took care of my mom, take care of the household, take care of my sister and brother, help them get through it. And then I knew when I came back to South Carolina that I would be able to mourn for sure then. I mourned some, of course, that whole week I was in Houston. But when I came back, I had a lot of loving arms around me. It really helped things out. This is not easy to talk about. And I kind of feel like I'm being selfish talking about this and about just what I went through, but I want to share this message with you because I know there's plenty of people that have probably been through the same situation that are wanting to make the change to do something better. And I encourage you to go through with it. Don't hold back. You need to do it now. Because tomorrow is never promised. With my dad, he was having no signs of being close to death at all. And then all of a sudden he was in pain, extreme, excruciating pain. And then goes to the hospital and figures out he had an abdominal aneurysm. So basically the vein in his abdomen had swollen up and almost burst. Luckily they had caught it before it burst, but they were not able to get the bleeding to stop. So basically he bled out. And most people don't even make it to the hospital. So that tells you a lot about my dad, that he was a tough guy. He made it to the hospital. He was in I think this is like 1% of people actually make it to the hospital. And they just say people don't die. And it was the size of a grapefruit. This thing was huge that was in his stomach. And he had no idea. None of us had any idea. And just one day he's there, and the next he's gone. And that's how life can be, guys. You've got to take control of your life today. And that is what I've been trying to do ever since I lost my dad. And there are days that I'm not motivated. I don't feel like doing it. And I think about him and how hard he worked, and unfortunately how he didn't have a lot. He was happy. We were a loving family, and we were well taken care of overall, but we were by no means wealthy. But we had each other. So if you have nobody, I encourage you to go find people. Go find a local church. I promise they will love you and care for you. And if they don't, then that's not the church you need to go to. Go find another one. Go find one. You keep searching until you find one that will love you unconditionally, just as Christ loves us unconditionally. If you're in the Greenville area, I'd love to share more about the church I go to. They are one of the most loving congregations I have ever been to in all 27 years of my life. And I've been to several churches, lived in 3 different states, traveled to many others, and I have not found a church like this. I can tell you, this church has been such a blessing to me. I cannot tell you enough how much a church like this really helps out. So guys, just remember, if you think you're having a bad day, don't take that out on somebody else. If you see somebody who's in a bad mood, don't get angry at them. They're probably not even angry at you. They're probably angry at some situation they can't control, and the only way they know how to take care of it is by taking it out on the person in front of them. Now keep in mind that you never know a person's situation. Be aware that they could have lost a loved one. They could have just gotten out of a bad relationship. They could have lost their job, lost all that they had. There's so many things that could have happened. So I really hope you got something from this message. If anything, just pause. Take a step back. Think about how it could be a bad day. Don't go in and attack somebody immediately just because they treated you the wrong way. I promise it's hard being the bigger person, but it's worth it in the end. Because if you're not the bigger person and they did end up having a bad situation where they did lose a loved one or just got out of a bad relationship or something bad just happened in their life and you treat them like that, they're going to remember that. And it's going to be so hard for them to forget that and to forgive you. So please, 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 please be kind to those around you. This kindness is what makes the world a better place. Love one another just as He loved us. I hope you listen to this whole message. I hope you do something with this message besides just listen to it, give me a like, maybe a comment. I'm not looking for that. I want you to take actual action yourself in your own life. Find purpose in your life that's above you. I promise things will mean more when you put more purpose behind what you're doing. Thank you all so much for listening to this and all your support and your love. And I hope you have a blessed day.